Is that the Scotland squad that is going to do the unthinkable, it's going to defy the odds, and going to make the very best out of this golden generation for Scotland and go and win the Six Nations Championship? I'll tell you what, they've got a proper team. Do they have the squad to do the job? Well, obviously, we know that they're going to get a guaranteed win against England in the Calcutta Cup. That's just become, well, that's just a given now, isn't it? But as for the rest of it, that game against Ireland in Edinburgh is going to be absolutely monumental. And it's a British and Irish Lions year. And a lot of these guys not only want to go and do well for their country, that they want to earn the right to be on the plane to Australia. And it speaks to how good Scotland are. They've got a lot of contenders. I'm going to go through this squad position by position. I'll pick what I think is their strongest 23-man squad. I invite you to do the same. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Give the video a thumbs up. I would love it if I would earn your subscription as well. If you haven't already, that'd be great. I'm Tim, and this is Egg Chasers. And this is Scotland. What are the headlines? Well, I mean, firstly, obviously, the big omission. No, not Kyle Steyn. Dan Lancaster. Where's Dan Lancaster? What's going on? He's the saviour of Scottish rugby, I heard. No, Dan Lancaster is not there. Yeah, we'll wait and see on that. Kyle Steyn is the big blow, though. He's not there. It's due to injury. He could come back during the competition, and I really hope he does. He deserves to. He's had such rotten luck with injury. He missed the November series. And bearing in mind, I've already mentioned the British and Irish Lions tour. I was saying back in November and through the summer on some of the videos, I think Kyle Steyn might be Scotland's best winger. When you look at the all-round game, Duhan van der Merwe does incredible highlight reel, just unreal stuff. Darcy Graham's a little magician. Kyle Steyn, leadership and quality, he's absolutely brilliant. And I genuinely thought he had a shot at the British and Irish Lions. With him missing November and now the start of the Six Nations, I think that chance might be ebbing away. I hope he comes back soon because brilliant player. Johnny Matthews still out as well. That's another one. Who needs the starting hooker for the URC champions and someone who's a prolific try scorer? Don't need him. Got Dave Cherry back though. Obviously, bygones are bygones, and whatever the issues were in the past have been put to one side. But one player who is not part of Gregor Townsend's squad now is Ali Price, and that feels significant and a moment of moving on. And with Jamie Dobie there, and I already mentioned that Kyle Steyn is out, they've actually only got 3 wingers in the squad. Jamie Dobie in at scrum half. Is he the 4th winger? And I do think when it comes to the versatility, particularly in the back line, much like France in the video when I was talking about their squad, I do think Scotland are built for a potential 6-2 split, which I do think would help them, because how many times have we seen it in games? Think about the South Africa match in November. They compete really well and then fall away. They haven't had the depth of squad to be able to compete for 80 minutes against the best teams. So that 6-2 split might help that. And one big part of that bench effort could be Johnny Gray. To back up Gilchrist and Cummings, Johnny Gray being back in the squad is huge. Anything else before I get into it? No, I'll go through position by position. Tell me what you reckon then. And here's the Scotland squad, starting with the loosehead props. And it's a nice little loosehead prop trio, isn't it? Batty and Sutherland backing up Pierre McScooman, who a fun bus of a man, brilliant rugby player, definitely going to go on the British and Irish Lions tour if he stays fit. Could be a potential starter. That little matchup between him and Andrew Porter is going to be absolutely massive in Edinburgh. So it will be when Xander Fagerson goes up against Tadhg Furlong. Love it. And it's fair. They've got good players behind them, Will Hurd and Darcy Ray, but the drop-off from those 2 starting props is big. I think you're going to see Xander Fagerson in some of those big games play 70 minutes again, as he does regularly. The guy's got an engine, but they kind of need someone to step up and take a little bit of the strain off of him. As for hooker, they've got 4 of them. I mentioned Dave Cherry's back in, no Johnny Matthews. They've got the youngster Patrick Harrison and the 2 guys that are the incumbents, Dylan Richardson, who's been backing up Ewan Ashman, who was good through November. Second row, Gilchrist and Cummings have been brilliant. Johnny Gray, as I say, is back to back them up. And 2 younger guys that are more prospects. They've got quite a few good young locks. Marshall Sykes is the one that's got the nod on this occasion, along with Gregor Brown. But Max Williamson at Glasgow looks really promising. Ogunta Beju at Glasgow looks like a potential real prospect. Very athletic guy, so we'll see about them in the future. But for this Six Nations, those are your locks. And the back row, spearheaded by that Glasgow trio, club and country, absolutely brilliant. Rory Darge, Matt Fagerson, Jack Dempsey, all 3 of them have got a shot at getting on the British and Irish Lions tour. I know I'm talking about that a lot, it's there in the backdrop. There's no doubt whatsoever. Yes, the players will say when they're interviewed about it, oh, I'm just taking the next game as it comes, and I'm focused on playing this game for Scotland. And of course, they're focused on the next game when they're in that game. But there's no doubt they know the carrot that is dangling there. And the three players at the front there, those Glasgow starters, they've put themselves right in the frame to all three of them go to Australia. And they're ably backed up when they get a chance by Luke Crosby, by Josh Bayliss, by Jamie Ritchie, and by Jack Mann. It's good to see Jack Mann in. While Jack Dempsey's been out injured for Glasgow, Jack Mann's been excellent. Scrum half, who gets the start? Who would you pick? See, I'm always tempted to go George Horne. I love the way George Horne plays. Really, really enjoy it. So I'd just go for him. But I have to say, Ben White has been very good. And George Horne does a lot of the fun stuff really well. Ben White, you have to say, does a lot of the nuts and bolts really well. And actually, international level, sometimes it's about doing amazing things, but sometimes it's about not making errors. And Ben White's been really dependable. So he'll probably be the starter. The question is, if you go for a 6-2 split, do you take advantage of the fact that Jamie Dobie can play on the wing and have him as one of your replacements over his club teammate and starter, George Horne? That's going to be an interesting one to watch. Fly half, Finn Russell's the main man. You've got Tom Jordan there, who's been great backing him up. Fergus Burke, new face. Did I mention him at the start? I should have done. I mean, there was some talk when he came to Saracens that he could be on the England radar. England are stacked with 10s. He's got the call from Scotland and immediately accepted. Maybe he will be able to do what Ben Healy didn't manage to do when he came over from Munster, and Fergus Burke can become a regular member of the Scotland squad and a dependable player in Finn Russell's absence. He's got a battle on with Tom Jordan to do that, so I'd imagine he'd only get, I was about to say a game against Italy, but just as Scotland, Italy are not a gimme anymore. And sad as it is to say, maybe Wales is the game now where players get their token cap. Fergus Burke might be on the bench in that game. We'll see. Centre, Hewitt Pelotu. Don't need to, as long as they stay fit, Scotland are golden. Those two guys are absolute rock stars. But you've got a nice little partnership in Rory Hutchinson and Stafford McDowell doing that 12. Well, in fact, both of them can play 12. Both of them can play 13. And Matt Curry's pretty versatile as well. He can play on the wing. So, yeah, they've got options there in the centre. Outside backs, I mentioned no Carl Steyn. They've only got the other three wingers besides Blair Kinghorn will be the fullback. Kyle Rowe can play wing and fullback, which makes me think, one, Tom Jordan as a auxiliary 15 and Jamie Dobie as someone who could be on the wing. And when it comes to actually picking a starting team, I do think Scotland are built for that 6-2 split. You can go one of two ways. And obviously, I think the reason I'm not even looking at the 15 is that's what I love about Scotland at the minute. The 15 picks itself. Everyone fit. You know exactly who's going to be playing. Will Gregor Townsend have a curveball? What could the curveball be? Will Jack Dempsey be back and had enough rugby under his belt by the time the Six Nations comes around? And if not, who's at number 8? Does Jack Mann step up as he has done for Glasgow and play for Scotland as well to keep that thing going? I don't know. That'll be an interesting one. Who does start and is on the bench at scrum half? The rest of the back line without Kyle Steyn, it's a fairly easy selection. But it's the composition of the bench that I think is important and vital for Scotland, because 80-minute performances have been where they've let themselves down. They've been brilliant for 50, 60, not the full 80. Johnny Gray is going to help. I'd say, actually, thinking about it, Darcy Ray will probably be starting at tight head, on the bench at tight head prop over Will Hurd. But anyway, that's a battle on. But you can either go a 5-3 split, in which case Horne, Jordan, Rowe might be how you go, an out-and-out 9 and a proper backup 10. But because Blair Kinghorn can play at fly half, do you need the fly half on the bench? 6-2 split just feels right for Scotland with the players they've got in their back line, with the fact Blair Kinghorn can play 10, with the fact Hugh Jones can play wing or 15, with the fact Tom Jordan, if he was the guy on the bench, can play 10, 15 or at a push centre. Probably Kyle Rowe would be the guy on the wing because he can come in on the wing at fullback as well, meaning Blair Kinghorn could step up to 10. So possibly Jordan or Rowe would be the 23-man shirt, but that looks better from just that energy. You can just say to Matt Fagerson, go, and Jack Dempsey or Rory Darge or Cummings or Gilchrist, go and empty the tank. Just leave nothing back. International rugby is another step up. Just go wipe yourself out for 60 minutes. And when you can't breathe, we've got someone really good who can come on. and continue that effort. And that, I think, is the route to Scotland taking a step forward and actually winning some of these games that they've narrowly lost. Look back to Ireland last year and Italy last year. They had a good start to the competition, had that disappointing loss at home to France where they'll feel like they should have won it and maybe a decision didn't go their way. They're not far off. They've got the players. Have they got the temperament to go and do it? Let me know what you reckon. I'll see you on the next video.